The Lights by Anonymous. When I was young, I used to sleep on my mother's bed a lot due to the nightmares I frequently had as a kid. I could always find peace under the covers of my mom's bed. But I now realize the actual comfort had come from the lights. Though still foggy in my memory, there had always been a pair of two lights somewhere near the ceiling of my mom's room. I never thought much of them. At least, nothing bad, of course. They were comforting, soothing, warm. I began depending on these lights. So much that when they didn't show, only on rare occasions, I couldn't help but feeling distraught and never got a good sleep. I never investigated the lights. Perhaps if I had, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now. Eventually I got older and gradually stopped sleeping in my mom's room. The nightmares stopped, and I had relatively forgotten about the lights. Until last night. Stumbling to bed around midnight after a long night of studies, I couldn't wait to just hit the hay and sleep. I didn't get much after all. Tormented by visions I hadn't had in a long time left me paralyzed and covered in sweat when I awoke. Somewhat relieved to be back in my world, I was confronted with a fond memory, brought up through a familiar feeling. It took a few moments to notice the two solid lights, and by now my eyes had begun to adjust to the darkness. Adrenaline surged through my body as I gripped the sides of my bed. As my eyes adjusted, I noticed something I hadn't through the foggy memories. They weren't lights. They were glowing red eyes. I began to wonder if this was another part of a nightmare. It had to be. Deep down I knew it wasn't. This was all too real. Through lost hope and fear for the unknown, I grabbed the closest thing I could. A gift from my mother on my birthday a few years ago. A snow globe from our Denver ski trip. Playing baseball at school, I developed a pretty efficient throwing arm. Launching it across the room with my pitching arm, the eyes went dark, followed by a thump on the floor in front of my bed. Turning on the lights left a pang of guilt in my stomach. Why was that so easy? Seeing the creature for the first time up close and knowing it had been around here since I was a kid brought bile up my throat. Its limbs were half as thick than an average human's, and where its skin should have been was a substance unknown to me. Dark and leathery, but looked as though you could stick your hand right through it, recently punctured with shards of glass. What happened next led me to believe the theory I came up with as soon as I turned on the lights was true. This creature wasn't my enemy, nor was it just a neutral visitor. That's when it began. The trampling creaks on the stairs, windows smashing, and above all, the worst part was the grotesque shrieks and howls. I knew what I had done tonight was the worst and probably last mistake of my life. Somewhere down the hall, my sister screamed. The creature, the one that I had just killed, had been my protection.